The Nobel Prize in Medicine this year was awarded for the discovery of microRNAs, and this is so cool in medicine. So I wanted to talk about microRNAs and why this is important for our health and gene regulation. But to understand microRNAs and how cool they are, you have to have a very basic understanding of cells. So when we look at our body is made up of many cells. And when you look at one cell, so you have a cell, inside the cell there's a nucleus, and inside the nucleus there's DNA. Your DNA. DNA and genes mean the same thing. So when someone says they're looking at genes, they're looking at DNA. And the reason why your DNA is important, your genes, is because they code for protein. And protein essentially is the instructions for everything in your body, the structure, the function, everything. So your genes code for protein. So how do our genes or our DNA turn into protein? And the process is your DNA or your genes get made into something called mRNA, and that mRNA gets made into protein. So now we're going to talk about microRNAs and how this plays a role. MicroRNAs are tiny pieces of RNA, and they don't code for protein themselves, but they basically can break or stop messenger RNA, which carries instructions from DNA to make proteins. So mRNAs can bind to specific microRNAs can bind to specific mRNAs, and they can turn off gene expression, meaning that the protein is not made. So in gene regulation, microRNAs are very important at controlling the amount of protein that's made, or even if a protein is made at all, because in general, your DNA gets made into mRNA and your mRNA gets made into protein. But if there's a small piece of microRNA and it binds to the mRNA, that mRNA cannot turn to protein. So how is this medically relevant? So in cancer, the balance of microRNAs is usually disrupted. Some microRNAs act as tumor suppressors and they stop cancer from growing more. There's also other areas that microRNAs play a role. So research looks at how microRNAs can be reintroduced into cancer patients. In heart disease, like cardiovascular diseases, microRNAs are important. So after a heart attack, some microRNAs can limit damage to heart tissue. And so that's an area of research. Another area of research, microbiology, because I love microbes. So in viruses, like when we look at coronaviruses, COVID, some microRNAs can basically stop the virus from making more copies of itself in you. And so scientists try to study which microRNAs can be enhanced to help fight off viral infections. And then they're also important in neurodegenerative diseases like various brain diseases like Alzheimer's, where microRNAs are involved in processes like neuron survival. So restoring normal microRNA function can help protect neurons and help with disease progression. And there's so many other areas it can be used. So microRNAs are found in blood and other fluids, can be used as biomarkers for disease detection, especially for cancer and heart disease. People also try to use microRNAs in therapy to inhibit harmful microRNAs or boost helpful ones. So in cancer, microRNA therapy could be used to slow down tumor growth. And so it can also be used in immunotherapy to make the treatment more effective. So microRNAs play a huge role. And again, all they do is they're little pieces of mRNAs, and they bind the regular mRNA that your body makes. And when they do that, when you have an mRNA and it becomes double-stranded, it cannot be turned to protein. So that's the Nobel Prize in Medicine this year.